Hey guys, it is Chad here from the Battle Warrior Podcast, and I'm just letting all you listeners know that the Battle Warrior Podcast episodes will be available across all podcast platforms, guys. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this brand new episode today. Hey guys, welcome to Battle Warrior Podcast. This is going to be a phenomenal episode coming in here today. Like I said, lately we've been going kind of opposite ways. We want to master the spiritual, physical, and mental awareness and build of surviving a fun life and creating an amazing life. This one's very special. This guest is very special because in order to achieve all those three greatnesses of life, you have to master the art of public speaking. And this is where Brenden comes on the show here, guys. We have the owner of MasterTalk YouTube channel. If I mispronounce it, let me know. But we have the owner, Brenden. Welcome, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, Chad. It's great to be on.
We're going to be talking about mastering the art of public speaking, and public speaking is in everything. Welcome to the show, and explain to my listeners exactly what exactly you do.
Yeah, for sure, Chad. So it all started in college. I went to business school. I never really wanted to be a communication coach or a professional. I was looking to be an accountant. That's what I studied in. And then when I got to college, I started doing these things called case competitions. Think of it like professional sports, but for nerds. So while the guys my age are playing rugby or soccer or football, I wasn't really one of those guys. I did presentations competitively, and that's how I learned how to speak. But then as I got older, Chad, I started coaching a lot of the students on how to communicate ideas effectively. And that's what led to the YouTube channel Master Talk, because I felt that everything that I was sharing with them wasn't really available for free on the internet. So I just started making videos, and it turned into what it is today.
It kind of sounds like a very similar path because a lot of people start this because we see that start this journey, and I'm gonna say in the self-help window, but just professional development journey that we're in. A lot of people start this because they don't see an avenue, or they want to bring a quicker connection to the information that's in that industry. And you kind of resemble the same way, or I followed you, depends on what the time frame was. The reason why I started this podcast is because the self-help industry, or like the professional development industry, was certain limited on certain people. And now I'm like, okay, guys, we have an access to it, an easy access to it. Let's bring it to my listeners here in the podcast. So I love the direction that you're doing it, and you kept it very, very simple. Even though it's a very complex world, it's very simple. You brought the information to the people.
Yeah, you got it, Chad. That's the key.
3 words: content to the, well, sorry, 4 words here. My math's a little slow tonight, but content to the people. How can you explain it, or explain it to me, how something so simple can be so effective long term, like you were saying?
For sure, Chad. I think it starts with solving a problem. So for me, when I started creating content on communication videos in 2019, there's a couple of things that weren't there. One, there's nobody in my age group who's creating communication content for the world. So nobody was really doing that. At the time, you had content creators who are much older who don't really appeal to a younger generation. That's problem number one. Problem number two is a lot of the advice they were sharing wasn't super practical. Hey, be yourself, get up on stage, share an idea. I was like, what is this? Like, no, there's a specific order. And then the third piece, which isn't really a problem, but an opportunity, I noticed that a lot of the ideas I had in my mind, no one else is really talking about. Like, for example, my signature question, how would your life change if you're an exceptional communicator? Dreaming about your communication skills, aspiring towards getting better, because a lot of the languaging around it is really negative. It's around stress and fear and anxiety. That's not how people get better. So because of those three reasons, I felt that I had something to say, and that's what led to the YouTube channel. And in terms of how big it got, I think it's more about when you share ideas that matter, people want to share it with other people. So my YouTube channel scaled pretty quickly because of that.
Absolutely. And there's one thing that you were talking about, which is all circles back to belief and subconscious. And I want to kind of take in that where you're like, hey, I have to believe it. You have to physically see it. How much self-talk to yourself, or in general, like how much?
Yeah, I would say for me, Chad, the focus is really other people. So, for example, and I was telling the idea to my university friends when I got started, they all said it was a good idea. They all said, "Hey, we would really need that. That would really help me." So for me, the self-talk, sure, I have some piece of that which is like, yeah, I can totally pull this off. But I feel that the other piece, which I think is what's more motivating to me, is this actually matters for other people. So for me, the why always starts with the who in mind. So what people need to start by doing is to start focusing on who is that person that you really want to impact and what happens to them if you don't show up, if you decide not to show up. So for me, I had a lot of fear and anxiety around starting my YouTube channel, but the reason I overcame it was because nobody else was creating this content. Like if I don't do this, literally no one is going to help those college students or the people in university. So I felt I had something to say, so I went after it, and that's what happened a few years later.
When you look at people that go through your program, or in general go through your YouTube channel and the coaching and all that stuff, I don't want to look at the numbers of what they did. I want to look at as, okay, how many more people you entered into the world. So like how many people went through you and say, okay, hey guys, this opportunity is here, come out and learn how to do it, get on stages, learn how to. So how many lives changed after you gave the green light for that? Not say gave the green light, but just in general.
For sure, Chad. Happy to answer that. So obviously that'll depend, but let's start with the vision. My vision is to help every human being on earth to be an exceptional communicator. That's the dream. Like, how do I take what I have and democratize it for the world? That's really the key. That's one piece. So now with that principle in mind, how do we make ourselves successful? How do we get to the result that we're looking for? So that's different. So the people who have private access to me, it's very small. I've probably coached a few hundred people so far in my career, probably 300, 400. So those are people that I've coached personally that we've gotten results for. But obviously not everyone can afford me. That's why my mission is so important, like the YouTube channel, that stuff. And at that point, I mean, I guess if you quantify like a listen, like somebody listening to one of my videos does impact, I mean, at this point, it's definitely in the hundreds of thousands.
That's absolutely amazing here. Where can all my listeners go access all this phenomenal information?
For sure, Chad. So there's two ways to keep in touch. The first one is definitely the YouTube channel. So if you just type Master Talk in one word, you'll have access to hundreds of free videos on how to speak. And the second piece is I do a free communication workshop for the community that's live over Zoom. So if you want to jump in on that training, I facilitate it. It's fun. You see me apply the tips live, and you can go to rockstarcommunicator.com for that.
Awesome, man. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming on the show, and it was a pleasure to have you.
The pleasure was mine, Chad. Thanks for having me.